There is a moment coming today when someone asks you a simple question, and you will feel the urge to joke your way past it. Do not. What you say instead could change how 3 people see you by tonight. Gemini, something in you is about to reach its limit today, and it is not going to look like anger. It is going to look like clarity. For once, you are not going to smooth things over with a laugh. You are going to say the thing. And by the end of this, you will understand exactly why the sky is pushing you there. The bigger picture. Today's chart centers on a tense conversation between the moon and Mercury. In Western tropical astrology, the Aries moon moves through your 11th house, the zone of friendships, group plans, and collective excitement. At the same time, it forms a square to Mercury sitting in your 2nd house of resources and self-worth. A square is friction. It means 2 energies pulling in different directions. And here, the friction is simple. What your friends want to do socially may not line up with what your budget or your values can support. Later in the day, the moon shifts into Taurus and slips into your 12th house, the most private chamber of the chart. That is the zone of solitude, unresolved feelings, and quiet self-encounter. So the day has a shape. It opens loud in a group setting with tension around money and belonging. It closes soft, in withdrawal, with an invitation to sit with yourself. There is another layer worth naming. Chiron, the wounded healer, has been sitting in Taurus in that same 12th house for a while now. In evolutionary astrology, Chiron describes the old wound we carry, often from early experiences, that becomes a source of wisdom once we stop running from it. Chiron here suggests you may be drawn toward a mentor, a therapist, a spiritual teacher, or even just quiet reflection about where you came from. This is not new today, but today, the moon walking into that same house amplifies it. The universe is not asking you to perform for anyone right now. It is asking you to check in with yourself. Meanwhile, in Vedic tradition, today's moon is noted as prominent in Pisces, a placement associated with emotional sensitivity and financial caution. Vedic and Western sidereal calculations differ by roughly 24 degrees, so it is normal that the moon's sign placement shifts between the 2 systems. What is notable is that both traditions, working independently, arrive at the same warning. Today asks you to watch your money and your emotional reactivity at the same time. That is not a coincidence worth ignoring. It is 2 different lenses pointing at the same weather. Love. Here is where the Moon-Mercury tension gets personal. If you live with family or share close quarters with a partner, small communication mismatches could feel bigger than they are today. Someone might say something in a tone that lands wrong, or a joke might not translate the way it was meant. You may have noticed this tension building over the past few days, that low hum of almost friction that has not quite surfaced yet. The instinct will be to deflect, to change the subject, to keep things light the way you usually do. But today, a small gesture of warmth, a specific compliment, a moment of undivided attention will do more than any clever comment. If you are single, a Leo may catch your attention now, drawn in by the same directness you are being asked to practice with everyone else today. Career. That same directness is your real asset at work today. The group versus budget tension from the bigger picture does not stay in your social life. It shows up at work too, especially if you are part of a team weighing a decision that sounds exciting but has not been checked against reality. Most people around you will want to keep the mood light. You may feel pressured to just go along with it. Here is what changes everything. Your honesty here is not about being difficult. It is about protecting the team from a mistake that costs more later. You do not need to over-explain yourself or turn it into a debate. State what is true, offer the simpler option, and let the moment pass without chasing approval. People may bristle at first. By the end of the day, most will recognize you saved them from an expensive misstep and that recognition tends to last longer than any momentary awkwardness. Financial caution is not a background theme today. It is the main event. The Aries moon square to Mercury in your resource house means excitement and spending can get tangled together, especially around social plans. If a friend suggests something fun that costs more than you had planned, this is the moment to name the number instead of joking around it. The Vedic emphasis on the Pisces moon reinforces this from a different angle. Where Western astrology frames this as a structural tension between two planets, Vedic tradition frames it as an emotional undercurrent, a moon that makes you more porous to spending impulses tied to feelings rather than logic. Both point to the same practical takeaway. Check the number before you commit to it. A quieter alternative, a later date, or a shorter version of the plan all work fine. You do not need to disappear from the group to protect your wallet. The good news arrives quietly. Later reports and career effort from recent weeks may finally show signs of paying off, and unexpected positive financial news is plausible in the back half of the day. Health. Here is what makes today genuinely worth paying attention to. The same square that creates friction between your social calendar and your bank account is also revealing something about how you cope with discomfort. You joke. You change the subject. You stay busy. It works, mostly, until a day like today, when the pressure finds a crack anyway. What this really means is that your usual deflection tools are running low on fuel right now, and that is not a flaw. It is information. The 12th house energy arriving later in the day, when the moon moves into Taurus, offers you the antidote. Quiet. Not more input, not another opinion, not a group chat weighing in on something personal. Actual quiet. If you feel pulled toward deeper reflection today, whether that is meditation, journaling, or simply sitting with a memory that resurfaces, that impulse is worth honoring rather than rushing past. Some Vedic practitioners might suggest wearing red today as a general, low-stakes way to align with the day's energy, since color association is considered safe for anyone regardless of birth chart specifics. That is different from prescribing a gemstone, which in Vedic tradition requires a detailed look at an individual's birth chart, planetary dignity, and current dasha period. No gemstone recommendation applies universally, and red as a color choice is simply a gentle nod to the day's theme, not a fix for anything. Physically, low energy or a dip in immunity is possible if you have been pushing hard lately. If you are pregnant or already managing low immunity, this is a good day to be a little more attentive to basic nutrition, including folic acid intake, alongside whatever your usual care routine looks like. Home and family. The friction at home today is not really about what is being said. It is about how it is being said. It is about how it is being said. Different communication styles in a household can make ordinary moments feel loaded, especially when everyone's a little more reactive than usual. You might notice a family member misreading your tone or you misreading theirs. Small gestures matter more than long conversations right now. A specific thank you, a helpful task done without being asked, an unprompted check-in. These land better than any attempt to talk through the tension directly. Save the deeper conversation, if one's needed, for later in the evening once the moon has settled into Taurus and the noise has quieted down naturally. The same applies to friend groups and group chats. If an opinion from a friend or a chat thread irritates you more than it should, that is less about the opinion itself and more about the emotional charge already sitting under the surface today. Not every disagreement needs to become a public conversation. Some things are better sorted privately or not sorted at all today. Travel and spirit. If travel is on your mind, this could be a good stretch to look into it, with Canada surfacing as a specifically favorable direction if you are already weighing destinations. But the deeper travel today is not geographic. It is internal. That 12th house moon, paired with Chiron's long stay in the same territory, is inviting a kind of inward journey. Think of it like walking into a quiet room in your own house that you do not visit often. One with old photographs and half-finished projects. You do not need answers today. You just need to be willing to sit there for a while without reaching for your phone. This is where the day's earlier tension actually resolves. The friction with friends, the money caution, the family static, all of it settles once you give yourself permission to step back without disappearing entirely. You are not abandoning anyone by protecting your own peace. You are just finally listening to the part of yourself that has been waiting quietly all day. Lucky signs. If you are looking for the day's small signals, red is the color worth leaning into, both for the general Vedic color association and as a quiet nod to today's fire and earth moon energy. The hour between 4 and 5 in the afternoon carries a favorable charge for decisions or conversations you have been putting off. Leo energy stands out as unexpectedly warm today, whether through a new connection or an existing one. And if there is one number to keep in mind, it is whatever your actual budget number is, because today rewards precision over vague optimism. Today's guidance. By the end of today, you will likely notice the difference between the version of you that deflects and the version of you that speaks plainly. Both have their place. But today asked you to lead with the second one, at work, at home, and in your own private reflection. The tension you may have felt this morning, between wanting to keep things easy and needing to be honest, was never really a conflict. It was an invitation to trust that honesty, delivered without drama, is still the easiest path. Tonight, when things go quiet, that is not a signal to withdraw completely. It is a signal that you have earned the rest. You spoke up when it mattered, you watched your resources when it counted, and you gave yourself the space to just be, without needing anyone else in the room. That is the real shift today was pointing toward all along.